In the early 1940s, amid the turmoil of World War II, a remote island off the coast of Scotland became the site of one of the darkest chapters in human experimentation: the Gruinard Island anthrax tests. Gruinard Island, a small and secluded place, was selected by the British government for a series of secret experiments aimed at developing biological weapons. The objective was to understand the lethality of anthrax spores and their potential as a weapon of war. The island's isolation was seen as an ideal setting to conduct such dangerous tests without risking public safety. Under the strictest secrecy, scientists and military personnel began their work. They brought with them a small group of individuals, prisoners of war and political dissidents, who were coerced into participating. These people were told they were being moved to a safer location, away from the conflict zones. But the reality was far more sinister. The tests commenced in the summer of 1942. The prisoners were placed in rudimentary huts scattered across the island. They were given minimal supplies and told to remain within the designated areas. Unbeknownst to them, the surrounding environment had been contaminated with anthrax spores, released by the scientists through various means such as bomb detonations and aerosol sprays. Initially, the symptoms were mild. Some of the prisoners experienced coughing, fever, and fatigue, which they attributed to the harsh living conditions. However, within days, the true horror of their situation became apparent. The anthrax spores began to take their toll, causing severe respiratory distress, skin lesions, and gastrointestinal problems. The infected individuals suffered immensely, with little to no medical assistance provided by their captors. The scientists observed and recorded the progression of the disease meticulously, noting the speed at which the anthrax spread and the effectiveness of different dissemination methods. They were focused on data, detached from the human suffering unfolding before them. For the prisoners, each day was a battle for survival, and many succumbed to the deadly infection. News of the experiments never reached the outside world during the war. Gruinard Island remained a classified site, shrouded in mystery. The survivors of the tests, those who managed to endure the ordeal, were sworn to secrecy under threat of severe punishment. Their stories of suffering and betrayal were silenced, buried beneath layers of official denial and classified documents. Decades later, in the 1980s, the truth about Gruinard Island began to surface. Environmentalists and historians investigating the island's persistent contamination uncovered evidence of the anthrax tests. Public outcry and demands for transparency forced the British government to acknowledge the experiments and initiate a costly decontamination process. Gruinard Island was eventually declared safe in 1990, but the scars of the past remained. The story of the prisoners used in the anthrax tests serves as a haunting reminder of the lengths to which governments can go in the name of war and science. The island stands as a silent witness to the cruelty inflicted upon those who were deemed expendable. Their suffering a dark testament to the ethical boundaries crossed during one of history's most terrible tests on people.